Hi everyone, this is a guide to good academic practice for your assignments and to avoiding academic misconduct in your assignments, and it is specific to the professional doctorates. So you would have seen this diagram in the course handbook, and it is an indication of the way that the curriculum and therefore the assignments for the professional doctorates are constructed. And you can see that one of the characteristics of the professional doctorate course is that the modules and the assignments do overlap somewhat. So for instance, you might be talking about philosophical aspects of research in both engaging with research and in research skills and methods. And this is intentional because these things are, of course, interconnected. But that doesn't mean that you can recycle bits of assignments. Each assignment that you submit must be an original piece of work in its own right. So put very simply, you can't submit the same piece of work twice, or the same work twice, same chunk of work twice for two different assessments. So in the same way that you should not pass someone else's writing off as your own, because that would be plagiarism, so you should not pass off old material as new. So if you've submitted something for one assignment, then you can't resubmit it as part of another assignment. And if there is substantial similarity between your assignments, this could be deemed as self-plagiarism. Self-plagiarism is a form of academic misconduct and for which there are serious consequences, in the same way that there are serious consequences for regular plagiarism. So what should you do? Well, here are some tips. So the first is to thoroughly familiarise yourself with the university's assessment guidance, its academic misconduct policy and guidance, and the student code of conduct, all of which you can find on the university web pages under student admin and understanding your degree. The second tip is 4 words of advice which I was given by a very well-known professor when I was quite early on in my doctoral studies, and it is read something, write something. Read something, write something. So in other words, every time you read something, write something about it. So rephrase, rewrite, summarize, synthesize what you read and what you've already written so that it becomes something original. This is not about changing the odd word here and there. It's about making the material your own and expressing your own understanding and interpretation. And if you are going to reuse readings or ideas or work that you've done before, then you can't just recycle them. You need to go through that process of rewriting, summarizing, synthesizing, and making it into something new. Third one is do not share your finished assignments or advanced drafts with other students. So yes, of course, as a community of scholars, you should be discussing your ideas and your work with your peers, sharing readings and so on. But if your assignment turns out to be very similar to another student's, either or both of you could get into very serious trouble if the university deems that there has been plagiarism or collusion or even both. Of course, you can share drafts with your tutors to get feedback so long as you stick to the deadlines you've been given. These final 3 points are really about good practice anyway, rather than just avoiding misconduct, but do make sure that you fully and accurately cite and reference all of the sources you use in your work. So use Harvard, consult the library guidance on Harvard as and when you need to, and remember that we ask for a reference list in your assignments, i.e. works you have cited, and not a bibliography, i.e. stuff that you happen to have read. Okay, so do stick to the guidance, please. Within that, avoid secondary citation. So secondary citation is where you present a quote or material from one author that another author has included in their work. Unless properly acknowledged, it can look like you are claiming to have read something that you haven't, which then undermines the integrity of your scholarship. And any action which undermines the integrity of your scholarship could be deemed misconduct. And at the level you're aiming for, right, so at the doctoral level, you really ought to be reading sources in the original anyway, as far as possible. But if you must offer a secondary citation, at least acknowledge it as such. For example, by using the words cited in or quoted in as part of the reference. Finally, minimize the number of quotes that you include, right? Write in your own words. If you must include a quote, then offer some analysis and interpretation of it in order to integrate it into your prose. Make it your own, and again, make sure that it is fully and accurately cited using Harvard. Okay, that's the end of this presentation. I hope you find the guidance helpful, and there is more of it on Moodle and the university web pages should you need it.